Hi, we have Matt Domanic with us today from Solocyc. Welcome.
Hi there, thank you.
So first of all, you did a training.
Yes, I did. I
Okay.
did our embedded and shredded training, which
All right.
was a 3-day course on sort of the basics of hardware reverse engineering. So taking it from like a base level of, a literal EE kind of background of what components are, how to identify them, and then how to use that information to help us map out schematics of a board, and really then getting in the meat and potatoes of acquiring data from a device, whether it's memory or firmware, and then analyzing it and actually using that information to help us hack that device.
And now you have a background in law enforcement.
I do.
How does that play into what you're doing now?
So when I was in law enforcement, my specialty was digital forensics. So in my early career, I did about 7 years of digital forensics. And then I actually got involved in private sector doing actual research in digital forensics. In the 2010s, there was a lot of new and emerging technologies coming to market, like drones and IoT products and other embedded devices. And it was important for the law enforcement community to have some type of idea of, if these devices are used in some type of commission of a crime, how do we get data off of them? And how do we analyze that data to help us in criminal cases when it comes to actually evidence?
And so you've hacked drones, you've hacked medical devices, you've hacked cars. What's the weirdest embedded device you've hacked?
I guess cars. Even I think it's crazy to think about like hacking in even like medical devices, because in the current company I work for, Solocyc, we do it as a cybersecurity consultancy for pen testing, and the goal here is to help protect these devices and help protect patients that these devices are being used on, because on the other side of that, there's adversaries that would either look to do harm or look to cause harm.
Right.
And it's just, you think about just the implications there of if a life is at stake just because of a security vulnerability, it's kind of a daunting kind of a theory or idea that could actually happen.
Now, when you were hacking drones for law enforcement in the mid 2000s, I guess, right? There was no AI, or there was AI, but we weren't using it in this space, right? So how have things changed now?
Man, I mean, in some ways I wish, like, wow, I can't imagine how much more work I would have gotten done. But like, I think at its core values too, even to use AI correctly, you still need sort of that critical thinking and sort of research mind of, applying like a scientific method to something that's new. But what AI does for us really is maybe a lot of that background analytical work that, we would have done manually, but now we're able to do much more efficiently and maybe even more organized, depending upon where certain skill sets are. And, like I'll be the first to admit, I absolutely hate taking notes and writing documents, but it's a lot easier when I can just tell like an AI agent to, hey, help me take notes on this and document some of these things that I found, so that I can actually focus on the stuff that's maybe more of interest to me or that I want to really dive deeper on. But it's been an incredible advantage, but I always also think about that adversaries have the same exact technology that we have that are helping us secure devices. They have that same ability to use them to find vulnerabilities for adversarial purposes.
What is, like, when you're starting with an object, you typically go in black box?
It depends. Most of the time, and for consulting, we do have the ability to have that white box, which greatly aids, and I find that advantageous, especially if you're trying to help an organization secure their product. It's nice to be able to have that white box ability, or even working with their teams, so that you could sit down with them and say, hey, this is what we found, and if you help us even with this too, that's going to make it a little bit more secure. Especially, in a black box type of environment. There's the potential that we won't find nearly as much as we want to find in a limited term and timeline engagement. So, the main goal is not, to find a bunch of vulnerabilities and brag about it. It's to help, its product security team make their product better and safer.
How do you know when you're starting doing some research on something, when the light bulb goes off, like when you have that idea, so you're kind of coming at it from different angles, and then you sort of go, oh, wait a minute, I think I understand Can you describe that moment?
Yeah, sure. I think it comes at, different times depending upon what the, real challenge is. And, you know, I think it's about also having that sort of, get at it and deterministic attitude. Cause sometimes it takes longer to get to that point than it does others. And just, kind of maybe not being, dissuaded from, if it takes a little bit longer because, hey, maybe you're going to get it, you're going to find it. But yeah, it is like that when that light bulb does go off too, it is sort of like very gratifying, but also I'm thinking about too, I don't necessarily want to find bad things, but it is kind of fun. And if you're in this line of work and you probably enjoy, putting those puzzles together and, finding something that's interesting. So,
What did you think? Describe sort of the environment here at hardwear.io.
I mean, it's great. It's just, fun to be with other people that, have that same kind of mindset. And, it's this air of curiosity, I think, that we all have that drives us to do what we do.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.